control the field, along with Nathan Hearn. They're the two fighting at the pointy end of the championship. 2 points in it at the moment. Another race to come to complete the weekend after this one. We are about to go green and unleash some V8 thunder at the mountain. Seaton's been tremendous since they took that car out of the transporter, the Harris Racing Transporter. It's tight at the front as they run toward turn 1. Bit of contact between Hearn and Seaton. Look at them, 3 wide there coming into turn 1.
Tim Brook had the really big gamble of going around the outside at Hill Corner and making it 3 wide, but it didn't pay off. Out into the grass on the outside and drops a couple of spots. Nash Morris in the thick of the action, trying to work his way forward. Really good start from Aaron Seaton, but Nathan Hearn's gone to the inside. He'll wrestle the lead away at turn 2, and Owen Kelly tries to get the nose of the red Mustang up there as well.
Looks a little taily, doesn't it, through turn 2, but Kelly wants to stay in touch with these guys. Thornborough, 4th. Nash Morris, look at that behind Owen Kelly. He's up to 4th now. That's a great drive from Nash Morris.
We touched on the fact in race 1 that he gets better and better as the weekend goes on, and he builds that confidence, builds that experience. Still a young guy learning, hanging the tail out as they get to Reed Park. Down to the metal grade, 190 kilometres an hour through here. Flow these big heavy cars on cold Hoosier tyres. And up to 200 across the top past the McPhillippi Park gates and towards Brock Skyline. It's a great sight, an even better sound, I reckon. And it's Nathan Hearn who's got the best view of all, because it's nothing but the beautiful central west of New South Wales in front of car 29.
Owen Kelly out of the dipper at 80 k's an hour from first gear up through the gearbox. They'll go down, back down to 80 here. Now, Morris is under siege from Thornborough. Thornborough gets it done, but some smart driving from the 17-year-old. No skirmish there.
That's the second time today that Nash Morris has avoided contact with another car, barrelling up the inside, and Thornborough was all askew. The car was sliding around right on the limit of braking. Morris with a good run, though, down Conrod. They're squeezed, and they'll go wheel-to-wheel through the kink. 275 k's an hour on entry to the chase. And Tim Brook still making up positions from earlier in this one after running wide at turn 1.
Great job, gets by Teb at the chase. There's the gap between Owen Kelly and Thornborough. So Thornborough holds down 4th. Look at the battles going on here, and at the tail of all of them, Andrew Fisher in the 555, car number 8.
Quick shot of Dylan Thomas. CXC Global car was in there as well, and this battle for the race lead. Nathan Hearn under pressure from Aaron Seaton. What a terrific fight this has been since the opening round of the series at Boost Mobile Race Tasmania at Simmons Plains. It continued on to the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Hearn won round 1, Seaton won round 2. It's an arm wrestle between the two most rapid drivers in this category so far this year, and Owen Kelly just watching on, using all of that experience to see what happens with these two leaders. This is really good stuff.
Don't you reckon Hearn has grown as a driver in the last few months as well, between S5000 competition and this? He came into this weekend with, you know, he'd really gone away and thought about the fact that he needs to be in the mix, keep fighting for the championship, and that's exactly what he's doing here at the moment.
How hard are they driving these cars, Rusty? Across the top, through the metal grate, they're bottoming out, they're scraping the front splitter on the ground, they're sliding around. These cars are spectacular to watch. And the drone cam from the top of Mount Panorama shows it as they slide off Brock Skyline towards the dipper. Hearn is wrestling the Valvoline car very hard, but it's a great point you make. His adaptability has surprised us all, I think, for a guy so young at 18 years of age to be able to jump between the Trans Am and the S5000, two fundamentally different race cars in the way they produce their lap speed. And he's done it, and he has been competitive in both. And at Phillip Island, the sessions were back to back. He would literally jump out of the Trans Am, slide into the open wheeler, and was just as fast as Thomas Randall and the fast guys at the front of that field. Really, really impressive. And I think that's helped his driving over the course of the season.
Just great maturity, really impressive stuff. And Seaton has been the class of Trans Am, hasn't he, in the last sort of 12 months or so. Car is run by Craig Harris. Hands-on work by Glenn Seaton, his father, the two-time Australian touring car champion. Our good buddy Aaron Noonan, who runs the V8 Sloop, will be on the edge of the seat at home, cheering, no doubt, backing that car. And we go back to Nash Morris, motorsport sales entry. Car number 40 is in position number 7 now. and potentially about to lose another spot here. Look at the way the car moves around under brakes at 1. Fisher has a look 2.
Morris just struggling with a little bit of race pace, and we heard from Brody Kostecki in race 1, and he touched on the fact that the car wasn't quite so good in the race as it was over 1 lap.
Look at
so he's
how it
fighting
moves
hard.
around.
Yeah, that's in a straight line going up Mountain Straight. Over the crest, and Fisher goes through. Jesus Racing 555 Golf Western Oils Touring Car Masters racer moves himself up to 7th position. Morris relegated back to 8th. He's struggling. He's in real pain in terms of lap speed here and just can't fight at the moment. And now it'll be Hugh McAllister who'll look to put a move on. The battle for 8th and 9th position. There's something wrong with this car. I think he might have a puncture.
Yeah.
Left rear. Look at the way that car's sliding around, and it looked like it was down on the left rear. And this could be a really hairy moment coming to the concrete canyon across the top, and smart driving again from Nash just to get out of the throttle and let people go by. I think there's a puncture there.
What a shame. And let's hope this turns into more outings for him. He's been a great addition to this class. I know it's all about, in the Norwell philosophy of things, more miles, more learning, more experience. He's done a super job here. We'd love to see him continue that at Sydney Motorsport Park at the next round of the championship. Again, stays right out of harm's way. Up in front, it's 0.29 of a second between Hearn and Seaton. We go back to Grice here. We wanted to keep an eye on his performance, up to position 13 and maybe about to pick up another spot.
So he's up 8 positions already, started this one 21st. He's got some heavy hitters already behind him. Cole Girton, another on the comeback trail after the dramas in race 1. He's up to 15th, Pappas 16th, and Scatella just behind him, 17th position. Grice now working on Cheney for 12th. I think top 10 definitely in his sights for this one. If he can get himself in the 10, maybe top 8, in the final 5 laps of this one, there's a chance he can buy himself into that leading battle in the 3rd and final race of the weekend, which will be bright and early tomorrow morning here at Mount Panorama. This battle is on though. Hearn is under fire, Seaton attacking.
Mark Crutcher here under a bit of pressure from the All-American Driveline and Auto Parts entry. Grice is going to pick up another spot. We need a commercial break in our coverage here of Trans Am. Look at the battle damage to Grice's car. He stays on it. We'll come back with more from the mountain in just a few moments. Hoping after a shortened race 1 that will go right the way under green flag conditions here for Trans Am, because it's been so enjoyable. Greg Rust and Richard Crail with you for the coverage. A massive afternoon coming your way here on the screens of 7, including some GT racing with some great names in Australian motorsport, and then of course qualifying for tomorrow's big one, the High-Tech Oils Bathurst 6 hour. Sadly, Nash Morris comes into the lane, and it does, I think you've spotted it, it does look like a tyre issue.
Left rear was very much on the rim and not on the Hoosier control tyre as he ambled past our commentary position in pit lane at 40 kilometres an hour. What a shame. Starring performance from Nash so far this weekend, such as this battle for the race lead.
Bad sportsmanship flag we are hearing for car 29 of Nathan Hearn for blocking, so we'll keep an eye on that for you.
It's not an issue at the moment, because in the last half a lap or so, he's just stretched a couple of car lengths, but he flies it in. Too deep into the chase, and that's all the invitation that Aaron Seaton needs. The V8 Sleuth car slides through and wrestles the lead away. That was just a driving error. Under brakes, rear end broke away, had the big slide. Nice job to gather it up without spinning, but surrendered the race lead. Full
speedway style in the way that he caught it, Nathan Hearn, but he'll be kicking himself. So he done a good job. And let's have another look at this here. So sideways, clips the curb on the entry, just carrying a fraction too much speed into the chase, wrestles it, keeps it pointing in a straight line and rejoins, but loses the lead.
Yeah, good bit of car control ultimately, because could have ended up in the gravel trap or pointing in the wrong direction and would have thrown away even more points, but that was all the invitation Aaron Seaton needed.
Who's having a good outing too is Hugh McAllister in position 9 at the moment. Mark Crutcher's gone off the circuit in the final turn. He just does hit the wall. Thought for a moment like it was, I got this, but not quite.
So it's got bent steering. You can see the car sort of crabbing along, but how tough tough are these things? That wasn't an insubstantial impact into the concrete there. The initial catch as well was a really good save before the car just pivoted back and hit the fence. So that'll probably put an end to Crutch's race in car 4, the big NASCAR number on the side, but could have been much worse. These things are tanks.
Now, is that the Morris Finance entry slowing as well? I'm trying to pick which car. Is that Kyle Gurton?
For the second time today.
No. So Gurton has slowed to a stop on the run up Mountain Straight just before they crest that final rise or hump there. So don't know what's happened to him. And as far as Crutch is concerned, so a bit of learning recently. The team went to Wakefield Park. He did around about 20 laps on the day, but I think it's just some of those little moments they're trying to dial out of him as a race driver. Great character. He walked straight up to me on Friday, stuck his hand out and said, "G'day, race driver Mark Crutcher, how are you?" And he knew he was taking the mickey out of himself too.
You've got to own it though, don't you? You've got to own it. Fantastic stuff. But that's part of the learning experience, isn't it? He'll get up to speed. It's such a competitive field to do it in as well. He'll work his way towards the front of the National Trans Am Series grid. You're back at Mount Panorama, the spiritual home of Australian motorsport, and there's been some action in the National Trans Am Series. We've got a new race leader. Aaron Seaton leads the way, punches out a new fastest lap of the race into the low 2-minute and 11s. Lap 6 of 8 here at Mount Panorama on Easter Saturday. This is why there was a change of the lead. Having just been warned for bad sportsmanship for blocking, Nathan Hearn, completely unrelated, grabbed the rear brakes, bit of oversteer going into the chase, slid wide and surrendered the lead to Aaron Seaton. And then this just a few moments later on.
For Mark Crutcher, I got this, not quite, and makes contact with the wall. He continued on. Go back to this battle here.
We also saw Kyle Gurton parked off the side of the road on Mountain Straight, so he's none for 2 today, unfortunately, in not making it to the end of a motor race.
That's a blow. He's been terrific in this class. He's been a winner in class terms in the Bathurst 12-hour here and some experience in Formula Ford, but relative to others that have come through the sport, he's kind of gotten into it at a later stage of the game. But in Trans Am, he's done a really good job. So hopefully they can get on top of that. Having a word to his family prior to the race today. And they've had a bit of an involvement, haven't they, with the likes of some young stars from Australia and New Zealand for that matter, Jackson Evans, that are now doing great things on the international stage.
Nouveau Constructions, the company, Matt Campbell was backed by them as well, and of course he's doing amazing things. Those two will pair up in the World Endurance Championship this year in a Porsche, which is terrific. So
Patrick Dempsey, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yep, correct. So it's great to see. Great young drivers getting support, but
we could hear some tyre squealing, but I wasn't sure if someone had gone around, but in fact that did happen. Wow.
And just does the old flick spin there on the runoff area. Not particularly certain race control. I love the fact he drove the wrong direction heading back up there, but still, double wave yellows, volunteer officials doing their job, and car 68 continues on at the front of the field, and Dylan Thomas, who's a vastly experienced driver, will do double duty this weekend. He's in the High-Tech Oils Bathurst 6-hour and a BMW M4. It's been towards the front of the field, actually. He's been driving that car very, very well.
Shout out to Tim Brook too. They've been working pretty hands-on with that car, he and the family, at this race meeting. It is ordinarily in the weeks between rounds, prepped out of Wall Racing in Sydney, and he's in there quite regularly, Tim, doing that. A guy who's had experience at the Mountain and in Toyota 86 Series before, but this is quite a step up the Trans Am, and it was lively across the top of the mountain. He said in that first practice session, sure got his attention.
Having said that, they're all pretty lively across the top of the mountain, aren't they? These cars are so good to watch. First opportunity to go and have a really good close-up view of them. One of the stories we've been following across the course of this race is the driver of car 03, Benjamin Grice. Started 21st, now 9th, and he's chasing down Hugh McAllister. But what this does isn't about today's race, it's about tomorrow's final race of the weekend.
Look at this.
This is Dylan. Oh, man. To have that moment and not have an enormous accident there is getting away with one. Yes, there was a little bit of light contact, but as we've already seen, these cars are tank-like in their construction. They can copy hit like that. Mark Crutcher had quite significant impact with the wall just on the exit of Murray's Corner
too, isn't it?
Yeah, but he continues to race on. Yeah, 100 grand crash in other cars.
That one for Thomas, that would have got the heart, would have got the attention and the heart racing for sure.
It's a piece of road that at 60 k's an hour in the rental car before the weekend is too fast. And you're going, oh, I might just back out a little bit here. So to do it in a big Trans Am car and have that moment and get away with it is enormous. This battle continues. Grice on the attack, trying to get himself to 8th place. One more row further up on the grid so he can attack when it comes to the final race on Sunday morning here at Mount Panorama.
It's a game that can be about battlers, and you know we probably don't need to oversell that, but Ben Grice, let me tell you, has been an absolute battler when it comes to trying to follow in his dad's footsteps and carve his own career. Has come through Hyundai Excels. Look at him here. Will make the move on McAllister. This is for 8th position. Only his 2nd meeting in a Trans Am, and this is where he should be.
He moves himself to 8th position. I love the nod of the hat to his old man's NASCAR livery. Of all the various Alan Grice liveries you could roll at Mount Panorama, I love the fact he's gone an obscure NASCAR one, but I think it's brilliant. The 03 really suits the car, and this is the Crusher Parts car, yeah. So had the incident at the same corner a couple of laps ago. I think there's some broken steering or damaged steering on that car after the impact with the fence, and it's not handled particularly well. And team boss Ian McAllister was just in front of him, so I'm sure that'll have been noted in the rear view mirror. Hats off to Aaron Seaton. 3.97 seconds and growing is the margin over Nathan Hearn. This is all good for his title chase. He took the points lead courtesy of victory in race 1 earlier today. He's going to extend it with this performance here at the moment. Driving for Matt Stone Racing this year, hands-on in the workshop with that outfit, having spent 2.5 years with what was DJR Team Penske. And I love the fact it's a family affair. I love that Glenn's on the headset, and then when they're not in a race, he's on the tools under the car. A lot of cars actually this weekend in every category running shock absorbers that have been developed and engineered by Glenn with his GSR suspension business. He's so hands-on. There was a great photo published a couple of years ago of Aaron, Glenn and Bo Seaton taken out the back with the Mount Panorama sign in the background. So much history with this racing family, and it's cool to be part of the 3rd generation Seaton to chase success at this great place. And gee, hasn't he driven well? He set a lap record earlier today, 2 minute 10.5. A little bit warmer now, 10 degrees warmer than it was this morning. So the lap times haven't been quite so spectacular, but gee, he's driven well. He's about to extend that championship lead that he earned in race 1 this morning. And might have been even a waiting game there with Nathan Hearn earlier. There is Glenn Seaton, 1993 and 1997 Australian Touring Car Champion. Does a great job along with Craig Harris and the crew on this car. It began superbly and the weekend success continues. Aaron Seaton wins at the Mountain for the 2nd time on the Easter weekend. Takes it out from Nathan Hearn. I kind of thought this guy might have been a little bit more in the mix. They will go away and do some homework along with Marcus Ambrose and see what they can bring to the table for the final race of the weekend. Owen Kelly home 3rd, and this bloke here, Tim Brook, after a bit of a challenging start to the weekend, that is a nice boost, a nice bit of sugar. Brook home in 4th. And importantly, good championship points both for he and Eden Thornborough, who was 5th. How far up did Grice get? Well, here's the answer. Can he get one more in the final corner? Round the outside of Andrew Fisher, backs it in drift style. Oh, he's thrown it away. Gricey trying to get 7th at the final corner, and the 03 is bogged in the sand. What a shame. What a fight from the back of the grid. Up inside the top 10, and it all comes unglued in the final corner. You're never, ever left wondering with a Grice at Mount Panorama. Father or son, you know you will get 110% out of them. He had a very, very big crack, didn't quite pull it off. I thought for a moment he was going to just do the drift around the outside and hold on to it. Still, entertainment, and unfortunately that car buried in the sand. And that's a shame, because it was a terrific ride from 21st. He's livid, you can tell with himself. So let's have a look here on the replay. Big, big lunge, big brave move here. Out, as you rightly point out, Richard, on the white line there. I'm not sure it was the white line that unsettled him. Didn't get the grass, it was just a little bit too hot. And it's similar to what we saw with Nathan Hearn at the chase, just too hot into the corner, and these cars' natural inclination to oversteer fed him off, and the gravel trap is unforgiving down there. What a victory for this guy, though. 2 for 2 at Mount Panorama on Saturday, and a terrific win for Aaron Seaton. Tremendous stuff. Hearn keeps the points coming in, though. That's important
in the title chase for Trans Am. So has a moment at the chase, but still put some points into the bank. That's valuable. Owen Kelly home in third. And a couple of other stories. Well done to Aaron Tebb getting home in sixth, ahead of Andrew Fisher. Chris Formosa as well inside the top 10, just ahead of Peter Hurd.
Good drive for Hurd to get to the top 10 as well. Hadrian Morale just outside of it. Chris Pappas, Dylan Thomas had the spin but recovered. Craig Costello there in 14th place, and Ian Macca McAllister to 15th. And unfortunate for Nash Morris with that left rear puncture earlier in the race, but he's going to be one to watch tomorrow to charge through the field and pass some cars and get some more elbows out racing experience that his old man will love.
Dear Paul, dear team at Norwell, keep Nash Morris in this game. We're waiting for Benny Grice to get out of the car. He's still quite disappointed in the meantime. Let's take you to the lane. Here's Jess.
Yeah, thanks. We're here again with another win, Aaron Seaton. That was pretty convincing victory. How was it from where you were sitting?
It was an awesome race. Nathan got me off the start, and it was a good race up to turn 2, but I just kept the pressure on, and he's been driving really well lately, so it was unfortunate about his mistake, but we were able to capitalise on it, and yeah, the car, I can't thank my team enough. The effort that they put in the last few rounds and this weekend, it's unbelievable.
It really feels like you found a sweet spot with the car around this track. What do you think that you've got right?
I'd be giving away my trade secrets. No, but yeah, just my team, I can't thank them enough. Every little bit adds up.
Fantastic. Well, one more race to come. Do you think you can keep it going?
I'll give it my best and see what happens.
Best of luck. Thank you.
I think we can be assured it's going to be a really good battle between young Aaron and Nathan Hearn at the pointy end, and such is the case in the National Trans Am Series standing. 6 points the difference now. Thornborough still third. Owen Kelly back to 4th place. Brooke in the top 5. Hadrian Morale, who's been a quiet achiever, in the top 6. Hugh McAllister 7th. Crutcher 8th. Girton 9th after a really challenging day. And Aaron Tebb rounding out the top 10. Entertaining stuff. Trans Am cars at this place. Big tick from me, Ray.
Absolutely. We've got one more race to come for the weekend. Hard luck for Kyle Girton there. That's hurt him a little bit in the Garage 1 Morris Finance entry. But it's a pretty happy Aaron Seaton